Browns Roofing, we put our customers first. Our expert project managers are there to answer all your questions and help you out with anything you need. When disaster strikes, either a hailstorm or a leaky roof, you need a contractor in which you can trust.
Hello and welcome to the Digital Weather Desk powered by Century Next Bank. I'm Jared Floyd. Happy Friday. Welcome to the weekend. It was a warm afternoon. I was just talking to some friends about the high temperatures for the day, and they're like, man, weather guy, you missed it today. And I was like, what are you talking about? It was really windy today. And they were like, no, the temperature. And I was like, well, yeah. I had 66 in Monroe for the forecast high yesterday for today. Then this morning I bumped it to 68. And it looks like most spots topped out right at 70. Check of I-20 as we head home on this Friday afternoon. Everything seems to be moving smoothly for the time being. And again, it is quite the warm day with most of us in the 60s, at least at this hour. A lot of us, did top out right at 70 degrees. 66 in Ruston, same in Vicksburg, 61 in Camden, 60 in El Dorado. And we will be watching as a cold front approaches the area through the rest of the night. Futurecast shows temperatures falling back off into the 30s through the overnight hours, generally mid to upper 30s. Low 50s, upper 40s for highs tomorrow, but we will kind of have a reinforcing shot of cooler air, weak trough working its way through the area through the course of the day. And that pushes temperatures well into the 20s for Sunday morning. That is probably our biggest weather headline going into the weekend. Christian, good evening to you. Most of us spending several hours below freezing Saturday night into Sunday morning. Hard freeze criteria for many. Low to mid-20s for much of the area. I have us 21, 25, 27 in El Dorado, Monroe, Natchez for Sunday morning. So be prepared for that. Temperatures rebound a tad into the 40s for Sunday afternoon. Monday, still chilly, close to the freezing mark. A lot of us will be below freezing for Monday morning. And then temperatures rebound a tad before another cold front works through the area. Well, that front will have already moved through early Monday morning, but the coldest of the air really starts to sink into the area late Monday and into Tuesday, and it sets us up for another morning well into the 20s on Tuesday. Still trying to figure out just how cold that air mass will be. That's still quite a bit ways out, so we'll keep an eye on that. And then temperatures should at least rebound briefly as we bring the rain chances back in for the middle parts of next week. Dew point's quite dry right now as well, so if we are going to bring some rainfall in with this cold front tonight, most of it should be rather brief and really confined to the immediate boundary itself. Winds have been quite breezy out of the southwest, generally in the 15 to 20 mile an hour range through the course of the day. Some gusts up to 30 miles per hour have been noticed. The peak gusts over the last 24 hours, again, generally in the 25 to 30 mile an hour range for most locations. Again, it's been a breezy day. And I would expect it to stay breezy behind the front as we go through the day tomorrow. Those winds northwesterly, probably in the 10 to 15 mile an hour range. Gusts as high as 20, 25 miles per hour, not out of the question. Check at the infrared satellite. You can see the cloud cover gathering ahead of the advancing front. And as I mentioned, there's kind of a prefrontal trough that's also helping to increase cloud cover across our area. The front will kind of catch up with everything tonight, sweep through the area, bring whatever small rain chances we have in the forecast to an end, and bring the colder air that sets in for the rest of the weekend. Good evening, May. Hopefully you're having a wonderful start to your weekend. Radar made possible by Brown's Roofing. Schedule your free roof inspection at brownsroofingla.com. And you can see some light radar returns continuing across central and southern Arkansas. Again, as the boundary makes its way through the region and it really starts to interact with the slightly more humid air to the south, I think our best rain chances will generally be along the Mississippi Valley. Futurecast made possible by Bayou Power Sports, I-20 frontage road in Monroe. Generally, again, as the boundary makes its way through the area, has the hints of at least some faint shower activity immediately along the boundary where the lift in the atmosphere is maximized, again, in the area that has the most favorable moisture. Northwesterly winds build in, and again, those could be breezy at times through the course of the day tomorrow. The secondary trough of low pressure, which will reinforce the cool air for Saturday night going into Sunday morning. This is the same trough, same secondary piece of energy, whatever you want to call it, that was bringing the snow potential. Now, obviously, just bringing a band of cloud cover across the region. Northwesterly winds become more westerly as we go through the daytime hours on Sunday, and then we bring our next cold front in on Monday morning, very early Monday morning. In fact, the coldest air associated with this boundary really won't arrive until late Monday and into early Tuesday. And that's as high pressure at the surface sets right over the top of our area. And that's where I mentioned many spots in terms of morning lows could be well into the 20s again for Tuesday morning. So some cold nights are ahead of us. Make sure that you're staying warm safely, that all your heat sources are in proper working order and all that stuff. Now as we go beyond Tuesday and going into the middle parts of next week, we do entertain some rain chances, and it looks like rain's likely, or at least a pretty good shot at it, late Wednesday and through the day on Thursday. It's a weak upper disturbance. It starts to churn up quite a bit of moisture across the region. I know you see the pinks and the blues, and you're going, hey. For our area, it just looks like rain. Of course, anything can change, but at this point, to get moisture back in the area, it's going to churn up some warm air in with it. So again, whatever our next system is going to be, it's going to bring liquid rain for our area. Futurecast shows the cloud cover continuing to linger through the rest of the week and then bringing another system in, not this Sunday, but next Sunday. Obviously, we're talking about trends, not specifics at this point. But I really wanted to show you this essentially to show you that the pattern starts to try to change. Not even necessarily a flip, just, hey, we're starting to see that subtropical moisture becomes a little bit more frequent. It's a better quality of moisture moving into the area, and that's going to bring rain chances back in more frequently as we head through the second half of the month. 6 to 10 day precip outlook is not overly aggressive and overly confident with rainfall, but again, it's at least trending us in the right direction. Same general story with the 8 to 14 day outlook, that the end of the month will probably be a little bit soggier than the first half. That's not saying much because we really, aside from last week's storm system, really haven't had much. December was historically dry by December standards, and then January has been quite dry as well. PV, good evening to you. Last graphic I'll show you before we split and we look at the forecast. Again, we've been showing this a lot, or I've been showing this a lot, the mid-level winds, and this is total precipitable water. It's basically just how much water is in the column of air above us. And we're going to try to muster up whatever moisture we can ahead of this frontal system tonight, maybe scour out some showers. Then the trough deepens, swings through the area, brings the cooler air for the early parts of next week. The upper disturbance that I was talking about for Wednesday, Thursday, positioned out over portions of the panhandle, but you can see that the subtropical moisture, it starts to get those southwesterly winds back in, kicks us back up some moisture that really sets us up for better rain chances through the daytime hours Wednesday night and into Thursday. Rebecca, Claudia, thanks so much for joining in. But what I really want you to kind of take away from this is not necessarily the placement of these disturbances in the upper level pattern, but notice that once one exits, how much our winds, at least in this level of the atmosphere, continue to be southwesterly. And what is that? Why is that important? That transports subtropical moisture, just like a conveyor belt, and just continues to filter it through the region. Hello to you as well, Claudia. We have back-to-back Claudias. That's kind of cool. So again, notice that. Sorry. I'm like a squirrel sometimes. So conveyor belt of moisture, despite the storm systems. Watch. This one moves through, up, back out of the southwest, even deeper layers of moisture along the upper Texas coastline. Again, we're looking at trends, not specifics, so don't get too bent out of shape about that. And then once we get this system through, potentially next weekend, there's already another one waiting out in the wings to continue to funnel that moisture out over our region. Again, are these necessarily overly organized? Can we really rely on the timing and the specifics of these storm systems? Not necessarily, but it's at least a trend in the right direction. And we end on this frame and you can see another storm system trying to carry a lot of water with it. So the end of the month looks to trend soggier than the first half. Does that mean winter weather? I don't know. Does that mean severe weather? I don't know. Does that mean flash flooding, heavy rain threats? I don't know. Does it just mean we're just going to be soggy for a week? I don't know. But the trends point toward more rain than we've dealt with. LaShonda on YouTube, thank you so much for joining in. Hey to you as well. So that's where we kind of sit for as we look toward the last half of the month of January. Can you believe we're already through the first half of the month? Crazy stuff. Lows tonight, mid to upper 30s. Spotty showers can't be ruled out early. Mainly in the 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. time frame. Again, this front's going to be a fast mover. There's going to be a narrow window of opportunity to generate some showers. Best chances will be generally along and south of I-20. Daytime highs tomorrow in the upper 40s to near 50 degrees. I did not know that Stanley was in here. I have the door shut, and I didn't realize that Stanley was in here. Stanley is the chief forecaster. He's my cat. He's also the general manager of the Digital Weather Desk. He's my boss, technically. Upper 40s for low 50s. Again, breezy, cool tomorrow. Getting cooler as we work through the day. Hello, Mr. Greg. Have a great weekend, sir. Look at the 7-day forecast made possible by 3B Hardware. Again, near 50 on Sunday, but I think the 51 Saturday and the 50 Sunday probably feel pretty similar because it's going to be pretty breezy both days. Morning lows back well into the 20s Sunday morning. A little bit warmer Monday, but that's even behind our next front, which brings colder air in for Tuesday. So we spend several mornings below freezing, at least 2, maybe 3 below freezing, and possibly 3 consecutive mornings below freezing, depending on location, early next week. Rain chances are back up Wednesday, Thursday. I think Wednesday night, Thursday have the best rain chances. In fact, if you go to digitalweatherdesk.com or the app, you'll see that a lot of the area, in fact, pretty much the entire area's rain chances are bumped up to 40% or even 50% for Wednesday night, Thursday morning. In fact, yes, they should be 50% for pretty much the entire area. At least that's what I put them at. So you should be able to see those on the app and on the website. Rain chances could linger for the end parts of next week, but we'll just have to wait and see between now and then. And that's how I will leave you for this work week. Fishing Game comes out tonight. If anything crazy happens this weekend, I'll let you know about it. If we see any drastic, significant pattern changes or any kind of severe weather outlooks or anything like that, I'll let you know. But I just don't see that being a short-term issue. We'll obviously turn our attention toward the rain chances next weekend. Also, on that note, before we split, fire weather risk is increased. If you are under a burn ban, heed those burn bans. Again, check with your local parish or county government to make sure whether you're under a burn ban or whether you're under a burn ban in your location. But breezy conditions, dry ground, and drought conditions don't mix. So if you have outdoor burning to do, just wait. Again, Fishing Game comes out tonight. Should have your first golf forecast this weekend, made possible by Frenchman's Bend. And like I said, we'll turn our attention toward the rain chances next week. I'll join you live first thing Monday morning with a look at the forecast. And like I said, anything that you need to know between now and then, I'll be here as well. Thanks so much, as always, for stopping by the Digital Weather Desk, powered by Century Next Bank. As always, so glad you're here. Have a great weekend.